All right. So you're the guy who leads with his heart and you feel things that support data. And so I am following up on the podcast we just did, right? About
fact checking it.
I'm fact checking it. Yes, I'm our own Jamie. And so I use some pretty cool agents now in AI, Craig, to do deep research for me, and not just the deep research on, there's always the deep research options. You can click on Grok or Gemini, or I don't know if ChatGPT has it, but anyway, there's a ton of GPTs, if you will. But I use a different service that's helped me really kind of, if I'm at all interested in something. And I will be talking about this at Summit, like how I'm using AI to grow the business and reduce some of the friction and pain that may be in my ecosystem. But that's not what this is about. This is actually, I used it to do some deep research on it. It took about 45 minutes for it to scour, PubMeds and articles and blogs and stuff like that to really validate. So let me give you some key statistics on the work-life balance and the mental wellness for dental professionals. And I think this piggybacks on figuring out what you want. So the reason we're doing this podcast, this follow-up podcast, is because honestly, Craig, in my heart of hearts, when we were doing that, I was like, this isn't appealing to most. What Craig is saying isn't really appealing to the wide audience of dentistry. And my research has proved otherwise, that a ton of them are going through this. So can I read some statistics?
Please, I want to hear it.
Okay, so around 44% of current dentists experience a range of mental health issues, including depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress. This was a study done in 2024 by PMC. Okay, 16% of dentists are now on anxiety medications, more than triple the rate before large industry changes. And I guess it's saying post-COVID. I don't know what that industry change is, but maybe 20 to 23% of dentists currently working are in a work-related burnout scenario. This was a study done in 2025. More than 40% of dentists say they have experienced a mental health issue before, including burnout, mood disorder, or serious thoughts of suicide. Yeah. So, that's a lot to just process right there. For me personally.
Well, because we love dentistry, we love the industry, and we know great dentists. And then to take inventory of all the dentists we know and work with and add that statistic to it, those are a lot of faces behind those numbers, Pete. Like you could just say, okay, that's roughly half. So think about the 10 that we, 20, 30, 40 that we know intimately, we know them well, we talk to them all the time. There's half of them that are living a life with this.
It's saying is the market trends. What's causing a lot of this anxiety is staffing, recruitment, and retention, and workforce shortages are the top challenges for 62.2% of dentists in 2025. So that, and we do see that, right? The stress of not having either people or the right people. We see that in our mastermind. But it's not, what it's saying is that the stress isn't coming from doing the crown prep, right?
No,
it's coming from
the first 2 years it is, but after that it's not. Yeah. So, it's tough. It's really tough. And what it comes down to is that one of the basic driving forces is that there's a narrative that says you should be your own business owner, right? We all know that that's the gold standard for what a dentist should do. They should go out and start their own practice. And we start a practice with not 1 minute, 1 hour of business training. So we know that dentists don't understand how to read their P&L. In fact, let's face it, a lot of them don't even have a P&L that's updated, or they've hired, their friend's wife to do it and it hasn't been done in 6 months. So they're literally flying blind. They can't figure out what numbers and levers to work with to make their practices work better. We don't get any leadership training. So we hire a bunch of people and everybody's kissing our butt because we're the doctor. Let's ask the doctor. Let's ask the doctor. And people put us on a pedestal, which makes us feel like we have to make all the decisions. You're the let's go ask the doctor. The doctor knows everything. So it actually is a very lonely structure that lends itself to failure because of all these forces. And then you have the DSOs that are eating away at our margins because they buy for less and get paid more for the same procedures that we do. So there's so many, as we say in the Bulletproof culture, there's so many bullets coming in to take us out, and there's no one to turn to. So it's no wonder. It doesn't surprise me, Pete. Surprised it surprises you, maybe because people come to me with a different set of problems than they come to you with.
Right. So they come to me with how do I, how do I do this? Show me the steps. I'm not saying I'm the more strategic of them, but I think that's, you lead with your heart and I lead with my head.
Yeah, that's very accurate. So I think more often than not, people come to me like I'm in burnout and they feel comfortable saying so. But yeah, this is a problem and it needs to be addressed. And, I think we're doing our small part with what we're doing in the podcast to try to make it better. And shining some light on it. Not that, I have anxiety right now that unfortunately that we're posting 2 podcasts back to back that are talking about dental wellness, well, it's just the biggest thing. It's the biggest thing going right now.
Obviously it's a pandemic within, 44% is no joke. Right.
Yeah. I mean, if it was half, it would still be a massive problem. If you had 25%, and then, you go to cocktail parties and you're like, I'm a dentist. Like, dentists have the highest suicide rate. Like everyone tells us that.
No shit, Sally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, there's another factor as well. Like, a micromillimeter can make your success or failure. Like you try really hard and you put a crown and you cement it and it's open a micron or two.
What I was thinking actually, as I'm gonna give you a quick little story. So my wife sends me this thing and she's like, hey, like, look what I asked ChatGPT what it thinks about me through all the conversations we've had. And so she sends me this and it's like this hilarious, just, who she is, like sequin wearing, blah, 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 not sequin wearing, but like rowdy, blah, blah, all the conversations. And I was like, what are you saying? She's like, well, it's my friend. It's my friend. I talk to it all the time. It's my friend.
I said the same thing. Before I pull it up in public, I'm like, I'm going to ask my genius best friend something. And I literally, because I have voice on my phone, but it's true.
So this is where, I hate that I'm always like looking for a tech solution to a life problem. But this is where I think that, that the avatar of AI, right? Meaning that it's going to learn, it's going to know you better than you. And because of its super intelligence, we haven't reached computer super intelligence yet, but I think it's in the next 18 months, Craig, that because of that, it's going to be able to solve things for you when you have problems. And at least it's a forum to talk to, right? Meaning like they have created bots online of virtual girlfriends. And it sounds ridiculous when we say that, but millions of people are using this right now.
Right. I hear what you're saying, by the way.
I'm not saying solve it with tech. I'm just saying.
No. I think but I'm not saying solve it with tech either, but I don't think this is a problem that can be solved through therapy, whether that's real or virtual. I think there needs to be a structural shift in dentistry, and I'm hopeful that there's going to be a DSO that can do it.
Yeah, no. I mean, you've been hopeful for how long?
I know I've been hoping a long time, but like, look, Da Vinci drew the plane and it took a couple hundred years to get a plane.
Craig, you were so hopeful that we've now tried to do a DSO with that 3 times and it's been met with.
I think the DSOs, the good ones, are addressing some of it. I think they're addressing some of it, but if you peel back the layer of what a DSO is, its name is virtuous and noble, a dental support organization.
It's business cloaked in clinical.
Right, but if we really are just honest with what most DSOs are, is a way to circumvent the corporate practice of dentistry. Do they really support you? I mean, I'm not quite sure that they really support. I mean, they do some good, but there's room for something to exist where it's a true DSO, where it actually supports the dentist. And that's holistic support. That's teaching them leadership, because even if they own 100% of your practice, you've got to have that dentist. The dentist is a leader of the practice. Even if he's just an associate or she's just an associate, doesn't matter. They all go to you. So imagine if there was an organization out there that had like the structure in it to help mentor and grow and guide the dentist, as well as take care of, the HR. It doesn't happen. I know there's one DSO out there, and I won't say their name, but they drink beers on the beach and they have fun. But in actuality, we have clients that have been in Bulletproof Dental ecosystem, and they went there and like, you guys supported me more. So really all they're doing is getting our play. They're saying my $3 million practice is now connected to everybody else's, and we're all going to make money together. But outside of drinking on the beach and, doing some cornhole tossing, they don't really give you the support. So I'm hopeful and this points to a large need wherever there's a massive need. And Peter, you're speaking of a wave of need. There's going to be in a capital market someone that's going to come up and solve it.
Well, I hope so. And back to our first podcast, like if you're too private or too quote unquote ashamed, or there's guilt or whatever, to talk with another human about what you really want. That's what I was saying. Like maybe tech is a good place to just get some confidence and paint scenarios and contingencies and things like that, and just have a conversation, like using the example of my wife, like make it your friend. Craig, I'm not saying that that's the ultimate solution, but I think it gives micro clarity sometimes. Like just like I use it for deep research, and I'm using it for content creation and all sorts of things. Anything that a computer does, I'm using my agent now to kind of do. And so unfortunately, that's where my default is going through, because I'm very myopic about all the things I'm doing, if you will. Because I see such advantages to dentistry from the operations of dentistry. And again, I'm talking about this at Summit, but just really cool.
And I think another thing is,
do you know what prompt engineering is, by the way, Craig?
Of course I do. I do it every day.
Okay.
But I do think that's, obviously a great tool to have somebody to talk to, whether it's virtual or real. I think that's a valid tool, and I'm not going to take anything away from that.
Okay.
The other thing that I think of is that with what's going on in society, and we both have teenage girls, and they're on social media, and when you social media is a great way to show everyone what your life,
your greatest hits,
yeah, and it's not accurate. So the other part of this that's compounding the problem is that you see everybody else kicking ass and you feel somehow you're not.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest benefits to our particular group, and one of the things that's like the special sauce, is they realize, oh shit, Peter struggles. Oh shit, Craig struggles.
Mm-hmm.
These are the guys that I was trying to aspire to be like, and they still have problems. I had a conversation with Adriana the other day, one of our masterminders, Adriana in New York. And she's like, I am just so shocked, because I was telling her about a failed associateship and how bad it was and how I didn't act quicker. I knew he wasn't good, and I delayed, and that delay cost patients and cost us. And she's just like, I am shocked to hear this, and it's so good to hear this. I'm like, why? And one of the benefits of what I have in my life is I have a lot of people that are, finger quotes, far ahead of me, and I see the ass kicking they get, and it's just part of it. So if you're listening to this, and part of the reason why you're suffering is because you feel like you're suffering alone, that you're in a shitstorm that no one else is going through, I promise you, we're all dealing with crap. All of us. Everyone's dealing with crap. And the ones who are super successful, the ones who are generating $5 and $10 million worth of dentistry, we all know that 5 to 10% of our patients are going to be problems. So if you're doing 5 million versus 1 million, that means you have 5 times the freaking problems. And all they are is just good at they're just good at being uncomfortable. That's all it is. The people who are really kicking ass in business have just gotten comfortable being uncomfortable. You with your one Google review that's negative, or your upset employee, will talk to my buddy John, who has 5,000 employees.
Right.
When I remember him coming up, and someone was complaining about a lawsuit, a sexual harassment lawsuit in the workplace, something was going on. And he's like, oh, you got one? And he didn't say it in a flex. He's like, well, that's upsetting. I know, but I have like 15 of them going on at every given moment. My buddy Michael has 3 or 4 lawsuits going on at every moment. And these are good, ethical, kind, smart business owners.
Yeah.
So just
the cost
know
of doing business kind of thing.
Yeah. Just know that you're not, you're not suffering alone. We're all going it with you. We're all going it through.
Yeah. The petri dish of dentistry. If you're in that dish, you're you're experiencing headaches just like you. Yeah. And no one's immune to it. And if you're immune to it, it means you're just completely detached from it, kind of thing. You're not in the ops then. You're not operations of it. I say ops. Ops can mean two different things, right?
Yeah.
You're in the operation of it.
Yeah.
All right. That was just a little, addendum to the pod. Maybe we'll put it out back to back just because I don't want it to take. But anyway, yeah, good stuff. All right, buddy.
Yeah, and of course, our network is always open. I'm going to put myself out there. If you are one of the 44%, plus 16, if you're one of the 60%, I guess that's depressed and blah, 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 and also not knowing what to do and having to take anxiolytic medications just to get through your day, I'm open to talking. So hit me up and I'll spend some time. But I can't implore you enough to get in a network of successful people that are going through it with you. It will help you so much. It's helped Peter and I. 100%. Peter and I coach people through their problems. So our problems are being worked on at the same time. So get in the right group.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Pete.